truth will always come out. I don't believe Kendrick Johnson died an accidental death, and these are my reasons why. I'm gonna give you all the reasons and contradictions in this case that lead me to believe that Kendrick Johnson was murdered. So it all started Thursday, January 10th, 2013, when Kendrick was marked absent from his 4th period weight training class. Now, he was supposed to have a basketball game after school, so his parents didn't worry too much when he didn't come home right away. But when 12 o'clock came around and Kendrick did not make it home, he was reported missing by his parents. Friday, January 11th, around 10:30 a.m., students would be piling in the gym for gym class at Lowndes County High School. A girl in the top bleachers would actually discover the feet of 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson. They were sticking out of the top of a rolled up wrestling mat that was faced upright. And one of the saddest parts of this entire case is that Kendrick Johnson's mother, Jacqueline Johnson, was actually on the campus of the school when Kendrick's body was discovered, because she was up there trying to figure out where her son was. Even worse, to push it just a little further to add insult to injury, I don't know, some people would be on the fence about this, but they would not let Kendrick's mother and his aunt see Kendrick's body when it was discovered. The people at the school, the employees at the school would not let her see her child. Here's my opinion on it. I don't give a fuck. You're gonna let me, no. I don't care. That's her child. She should have been able to see her child, period. I don't care what the damage is. She's a grown-ass woman. She can decide. Thank you. You're not law enforcement, bitch. That pissed me off. There's a lot of things in this case that anger me. And it's crazy because kind of like the last video I did, Kanika, when you're looking at the case, it's so easy for law enforcement to spin it as it was an accident. It was an accidental death. Oh, da-da-da-da. But when you look at the evidence, it paints a different picture. But they're in control of the evidence. The truth will always come out. A judge just threw out the 2023 $1 billion federal lawsuit that the Johnson family filed against the state of Georgia and several other agencies. I'm sorry, I had to check my notes. And I know the family plans to appeal, and please do until you're heard, because half of this shit is disgusting. What they think they're gonna get away with, and they're not. They're not. And just for context, it was so common for the students at that high school to throw their sneakers, whatever they needed, under the gym mats because they didn't want to pay for a locker, which, same. That is what makes this case so, down the middle, I guess, or made it, I don't know, because with them saying that, oh, the kids at the high school like to put their things under the mat and go in and get them, they're painting a picture. So the placement of the mats, where the mat was that they found Kendrick in, was in the very back row, right? So the theory from police is that Kendrick was reaching into the mat. He jumped over the mats to reach in, grab his shoes, and he got stuck. Okay. The evidence does not show that at all, and I'm about to tell you why. Okay? So the mats is so controversial because I feel like it's an easy cope. They're using it as an easy cope, not to be lazy, not to do good police work, or to cover something up. Contradiction. We're going to put all the contradictions right here. Ready? Contradiction number 1. The brothers. In this case, there are 2 brothers of an FBI agent who have had multiple accusations against them that they were involved in Kendrick's death. Quick rundown, ready? I'm gonna have to pull my phone up for notes. I'm not a robot, okay? I can't remember all this shit by the top of my head. Forgive me, Kendall. Sorry, doing this off the sweat of my back, not my team. So, for context, Brian Bell and Braden Bell have been publicly accused by the Johnson family for having something to do with Kendrick's death and it being covered up. Now, with their father being an FBI agent, is that too hard to believe? No, not at all. With the father being an FBI agent, a cover-up is not, it's not a stretch, especially in these days with Charlie Kirk and us finding out about JFK. Like, be for real. Be for real, okay? Theory is that Braden and Brian, one of the brothers was with a girl and she had her eyes on Kendrick and she was also spending time with Kendrick for, you know, high school shit, right? So the theory is that because the brothers did have long-standing beef, like I guess they just never really liked each other, because of this and the girlfriend and the love triangle, the brothers and Kendrick ran into each other Thursday, the day of Kendrick's disappearance, and an altercation went down. Maybe, you know, Kendrick got jumped on and blunt force trauma happened. It's all theories at this point. But with the accusations and with their father being an FBI agent, cover-up isn't, I'm going to say it one more time, cover-up isn't too crazy to believe. That theory, along with everything else, makes the most sense to me, but everyone's allowed to gather their own opinions. All of this is alleged. None of this has been proven true. So, we'll keep going. I do want to add the accused party, Brian and Braden, I assume, maybe their father even as well, did file a defamation lawsuit. So, there is that. Just making sure we get all the pieces. I'm not leaving anything I learned out. Next should be the surveillance footage, right? Surveillance footage, like I said, it was chopped and screwed, but elaborating on that, there were hours of footage missing. And not just random hours like, oh, you know, the school's closed and it's cleaning. That would make sense. Oh, okay. No, just random hours of the day missing. What? Why hasn't, that could mean that there are students being, no. There should never in any school be any hours of surveillance footage missing. The camera should always be top tier working. This is America, right? Why are our schools got junky cameras that don't record all day? That's crazy. Secondly, they're motion detected. That's crazy. Why? It should be recording at all times. Active shooters, grooming teachers, sexual assault, kids fighting. Like, there's so many reasons why there should never be cameras that don't work at a school. Be for real. The timestamps jump, and I think that goes with missing footage. Really, there's not too much to get into with the missing footage. I could elaborate deeper on that if you guys would like put the footage where, you know, I could do that. But just to touch base on it, yes, the surveillance footage points to tampering. Next contradiction would be the condition of Kendrick's face. With the way that Kendrick was positioned in the map, when they unrolled him without police being there, mind you, the condition of Kendrick's face is honestly disturbing. You could say that the position that he was in, that he was found in, okay, like, yeah, maybe all the blood would rush to his face. Okay. But the picture showed severe discoloration and swelling. It showed blunt force trauma. Medical experts and investigators would argue that it was positional and that his injuries were consistent with decomp and the position of being upside down. And that's what I mean when I say, like, this case is just like everything contradicts. And like, I feel like in my opinion, when a case is like that, all the questions haven't been answered. There's definitely something missing and it's not solved. Why do we still have all these complete contradictions down the middle questions? Like, it just doesn't add up. Sorry. Like, it points to more investigation. And with the condition of his face, the next contradiction in this case will be the missing organs. This is another anomaly. There's so many things in this case that just point to bad police work and laziness. Kendrick Johnson's body was exhumed in 2013 when his parents obtained a second autopsy. And when his body was exhumed, the pathologist discovered that a few of his organs were missing and replaced with crumbled up newspaper. Before you get to jump into conclusions, no, that's not a regular practice anymore, and that's not something that funeral homes, coroners, they don't do that. So that leads to more suspicion, more unanswered questions, and it's weird. It doesn't make sense. However, officials argued that the organs were taken out during the first examination and just were never returned. Like, oh, sorry, like what kind of operation are we running here? Fire everybody. The people who investigated Kendrick's death still argued that authorities who reviewed the matter didn't think that it was a homicide or a cover-up, though. Of course not. Why would they? Probably because it is one. Nonetheless, the organs still remain largely controversial. It's still a largely suspicious and controversial subject because where do you hear that happening? Where do you hear that happening? Be for real. Where do you hear that? In the comments, if this has ever happened to you, and I don't mean any disrespect, it just angers me, and I'm genuinely curious. If you're watching, my 161 subscribers, if this has ever happened to you or anyone you know, please put in the comments. Please. Just to put some things to rest. Or, if you're a medical expert and you happen to be watching this, comment below if you've ever heard of that. Right? Okay. To the last contradiction, and this makes perfect sense because it's all contradictions on this last one, are the autopsies. After this, I'll give my final thought. Conflicting autopsies, right? The GBI concluded that Kendrick Johnson's death was an accidental death and that it was caused by positional asphyxia. The second autopsy that was performed, that the Johnson family hired, which was a private pathologist, concluded that Kendrick Johnson suffered blunt force trauma that suggested homicide. The third autopsy, which is crazy, also suggested blunt force trauma and homicide. This third autopsy also questioned the first autopsy's findings. So if we're looking at this with logic, 2 out of 3 are considered blunt force trauma and homicide. And one that is connected to a possible cover-up is the one saying that it's positional asphyxia. With all that being said, my opinion, which I think I already told you, is that Kendrick Johnson was murdered. Period, point blank. All of this, all the evidence I just gave to you, all of the information I just provided to you, logically only points to one thing. Something's fishy is going on. Something's not adding up, and there's still plenty of questions surrounding this case. And I think the case needs to be reopened and reinvestigated. I hope that the Johnson family files an appeal, does another lawsuit, files another lawsuit, and wins. I just hope that the truth comes out. I hope that the Johnson family gets the closure and the answers that they need to move forward. And it just makes me so sad. What, like, a life gone too soon. But Kendrick deserves better by his peers and the teachers, authorities. Everyone in that school failed Kendrick. Thank you for watching. I missed you guys, and I will see you in the next one.